Starfield is declining. It's mid-November and Starfield is already being contested in player count by games like Skyrim and Fallout. But I personally think that Starfield is just getting started. If you're a fan of Starfield or RPGs or just gaming in general, make sure that you like and subscribe because I'm going to be giving you guys content on a weekly basis and you're not going to want to miss out. A lot of people could perceive this in different ways. I mean, it was a single player game, which means that about 30 hours to complete the game, and if you wanted to go into NG Plus and 100% the game, well, that's a lot more of a daunting task. To 100% Starfield, it could take you upwards of like 200 to 300 hours. And I just feel as if a lot of people don't want to do that, especially in 2023 where there's a lot of other games to play. Asking people 300 hours of their time to 100% a game is just too much to ask. So of course the shelf life of this game is going to be roughly about 3 months. If you really think about it, 3 months, 30 hours to complete the game, that's plenty of time to complete the game. Of course the player count is going to go down. And I don't really paint single player games with the same brush as I do other multiplayer games, which is where I'm going with Starfield going online. Starfield is dying without a battle royale.
What?
But Starfield could definitely benefit from an online experience. I feel like Starfield has many more expansions to the single player to go before we even have conversations about playing this game online. But I'm going to be extremely early to that discussion. Now, the identity of Starfield is essentially having 1,000 planets and like 100 universes and just having so many procedurally generated unique experiences for a single player experience. And I don't think that that lends itself to a multiplayer experience at all. Like literally not even at all. That's the polar opposite of what you want for an actual multiplayer experience on an online MMO style or an online GTA 5 style experience. You want everybody to have the same universe and a lot of similar experiences, and that's exactly why I think that Starfield Online is going to be a separate identity than it will be for the single player game, similar to what they did with Elder Scrolls Online. Elder Scrolls Online has its own game. It has the identity of Skyrim and Elder Scrolls games, but it does have its own actual, like you have to open a different game to play that online. And the more that I think about it, the more I realize that Starfield is never going to be an online game, but Starfield Online could be its own kind of like segmented, almost sliced away universe that's going to have no procedural generation when it comes to different experiences for the user, but perhaps maybe like 2 or 3 universes that you have maybe 30 or 40 planets and 150 plus people that you can have different like cities and metropolises where you can trade and exchange and you can have lots of like guilds and maybe even create your own factions. Imagine that you'd have like maybe 5 to 6 to maybe max 20 of your friends that you could create your own like space pirate guild, or you can have your own like version of the constellation. And different planets and different NPCs in the game will react to you depending on the way that you behave inside of the game and the way that you align your faction or your guild. For example, like space pirates won't like constellation people, but the space pirates will like people that are consistently stealing people's stuff in space. I'd imagine the segmented universe of maybe perhaps 20 to 25 planets would have extremely big bosses that you can only conquer if you have like 5 or 6 or a larger party, and you wouldn't be able to take down on your own. But the high risk, high reward would be a nice drop rate, maybe something that you can get that's a really great weapon, or something that's really useful for trading resources inside of New Atlantis. Maybe an outpost that you can put down in there and it could be really useful for the future. Maybe people would have to fight for outposts, and maybe PvP even consists of taking down other users' outposts so you can use it for yourself and battling for outposts, almost like a Rust style deal. Like you make your own outpost and you have to defend your outpost, even hire NPCs to make it more difficult for other people to raid it. What I'm saying right now sounds exactly like something that I would play almost limitlessly. I would never stop playing this. And we're not even getting into the space combat yet, building up your money to make sure that you have the perfect spaceship and having like the greatest like defense, or like having your best haul ship where you can haul multiple resources over to different like metropolises, like an online version of New Atlantis, but also having like combat with other players, PvP in space, and being able to do things like haul their ships, destroy them, or even go into the ships and fight them in their own ship and take their haul, take whatever they have inside of their ship. Be a space pirate with 4 or 5 of your friends doing hood rat shit in space. The way that Bethesda has been handling their major IPs, you can tell that they squeeze a lot out of Fallout, they squeeze a lot out of Elder Scrolls, and I can't see this game just being limited to a single player experience. Yes, I do feel like there's going to be a lot of DLC to come in the future for Starfield, that they're definitely going to make sure that people have an expanded NG Plus universe experience, but it just seems as if this game is ramping up to something much bigger. Elder Scrolls Online is already getting a lot of support. In 2023 and 2024, it's expected to be amazing. And while this game's combat situation is very much different, there's no cooldowns and like there's no like mages, and it just seems as if like this is more of like less of a World of Warcraft style MMORPG, and it would be more kind of like Grand Theft Auto-esque. Now, GTA 6 probably would be the major competition for Starfield's online entity. It makes me think that we probably won't see this until a little bit of the hype for GTA 6 simmers down, which is projected to be between 2024 and 2025, which is fine because I would not mind having more single player DLC, and I also wouldn't mind seeing them fix things, sure that everybody remembers Fallout being online and everybody absolutely loathing its existence. So I think the more time that they have to kind of shell out and make the base of Starfield good and fun for an online experience, the better. My wish list for an online experience for Starfield would be number one, just make sure that this thing is not clunky. I mean, a lot of Bethesda launches are usually extremely clunky. However, Starfield was one of the cleanest launches of Bethesda history, in my opinion. I think it's literally like one of the best ones that they've done since maybe Skyrim. However, the loading screens would definitely need to be tamed to some degree. One of the reasons why there's so many load screens is because there's like 1,600 places that you can land, 100 universes, 1,000 planets. It's all procedurally generated. But if they're going to make an online experience, there's no way that they can make it procedurally generated because we would have to be making callouts. If I'm landing on a planet that looks completely different than what you landed on and we're playing together, that makes zero sense. So procedural generation is completely off the table, which makes me cross my fingers that possibly we can maybe kill some of these load screens to have a more immersive online experience in Starfield Online. Number 3 would be a major upkeep. Like, I want great bosses. I want to feel like I'm working with my friends to do something that's part of a bigger picture. I don't want to just have like what GTA 5 started with online, which is basically just like roaming around the planet with not too much to do and there's really no purpose. It's just like we're gonna mess with other people, but there's no real actual like action going on or like bigger picture. There's nothing to work toward. I need something that has structure right away. Let me know in the comments what you think, and also guys, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the comments. Fingers crossed. Have a good day. I'm out. Peace.